What if a 2,700-year-old prophecy wasn't just some dusty words in a book, but was actually coming true on the screen in your hand, right now? For centuries, their very existence was the stuff of legend. They were a lost tribe of Israel, seemingly erased from history. Back in 722 BC, the brutal Assyrian Empire swept through the northern kingdom of What if a 2,700-year-old prophecy wasn't just some dusty words in a book, but was actually coming true on the screen in your hand, right now? For centuries, their very existence was the stuff of legend. They were a lost tribe of Israel, seemingly erased from history. Back in 722 BC, the brutal Assyrian Empire swept through the northern kingdom of Israel, conquering it and scattering 10 of its 12 tribes. After that, they were thought to be lost forever. But way out in a remote corner of northeast India, tucked into the hills of Manasseh and Mizoram, a community called the Bnei Manasseh, the children of Manasseh, never forgot who they were. For generations, they kept the Sabbath. They followed ancient dietary laws. They sang haunting songs about a life in exile and a promised return, and they told their children that one day, they would finally go home. For most of history, the world dismissed them as a myth. But then, the Israeli government and its highest religious leaders started to investigate, and what they discovered changes everything. This is the story of a promise kept across thousands of years, a modern-day exodus, and a prophecy being fulfilled right before our eyes. The exile, the great vanishing. To really get their journey home, we have to rewind all the way to the beginning, to the moment that ripped a kingdom in two. For more than 200 years, the ancient kingdom of Israel was a major power. But after King Solomon died, it cracked, splitting into two rival kingdoms, Judah in the south and Israel in the north. Then, in the 8th century BC, the Assyrian Empire came crashing in. They were a ruthless, expansionist war machine that steamrolled the entire region. The Bible, in the second book of Kings, records the absolute catastrophe of 722 BC. The Assyrian king overran the northern kingdom and dragged its people into exile. The scripture says they were taken to Halah, on the Habor, the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. And then, nothing. Silence. History completely lost their trail. 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel just seemed to vanish, scattered to the four corners of the earth. They became known as the 10 lost tribes, their fate one of the most stubborn mysteries in history. For almost 3,000 years, scholars, explorers, and believers have all asked the same question: what happened to them? Where did they go? The answer, as it turns out, might lie at the end of a long, winding journey through the heart of Asia. The discovery, a flame in the hills. Thousands of miles from the Holy Land, in the green, rugged hills of northeast India, the Mizo, Kuki, and Chin peoples lived for centuries, completely cut off from the Jewish world. And yet, their traditions held these mysterious echoes of a distant past. They practiced customs that were strikingly similar to ancient Jewish law. They celebrated a spring festival that felt a lot like the biblical Passover. They even built altars and offered sacrifices in a way that seemed to come right out of the book of Leviticus. The incredible part is, this knowledge didn't come from missionaries or books. It was preserved in a powerful oral tradition, passed down from parent to child around a fire, generation after generation. Their sacred history spoke of an ancestor they called Manasseh or Manasseh, a name they believed was their forefather, the biblical Manasseh, son of Joseph. Their songs, sung in their native Tibeto-Burman languages, told an amazing story, a long, wandering migration from a land far to the west, a journey through Persia, Afghanistan, and Tibet, before they finally settled in the hills of India and Burma. One of their most treasured songs even describes crossing a great sea that parted for them, just as their enemies were swallowed by the waves, a clear echo of the Exodus from Egypt. For 2,700 years, they held on to this one unwavering belief, a collective dream whispered through the ages. They were the children of Israel, and one day, they would return to the land of their ancestors. The